This past winter, I had a pool installed at my house. It's my property that I have a mortgage on. It's not community or city property. After the pool installation, I had my old fence removed and installed new fences that met with the city code for a residential pool. My new fence is higher than my old one, and their gates have approved locks. About a month ago, I had to travel for work and was gone for about 2 weeks. I came back to find my backyard trashed, and it seemed someone had a pool party while I was gone. The locks on my gates were broken, but luckily no one broke into my house. I checked my security cameras and saw at least 20 teens having an all-day party that lasted into the night. I did not give permission for anyone to be at my house, so I was mad. My cameras are HD, so their faces were clearly visible, and I recognized some from the neighborhood. I went to the police, submitted a copy of the recordings, and tried to file a report. The cops tried to talk me out of it, but I pressed them on it until they relented and took a report. Weeks passed by and I heard nothing, so I called them to find out nothing had been done. I got angry and threatened to sue unless they got off their behinds and enforced the law. I should point out that I live in a town of about 2,000 people, and nothing ever happens here. The cops are not understaffed or too busy on other cases. I also know I probably can't sue the cops for doing their jobs, but I lost nothing by threatening a lawsuit, and I was mad at the time. Finally, they got some of the teens seen on my security video, but again, they tried to talk me out of pressing charges. I was adamant and insisted they file charges. When my girlfriend learned about the situation, she said I should have let it go, and we argued about it. My own mother thinks I'm being a bully by forcing the cops to file charges against some teens who just wanted to throw a party. Virtually everyone I know is making me out to be some grumpy guy with a score to settle. And I kid you not, everyone in my life is trying to talk me out of it. They're worried about me destroying these teens' future over a pool party. I don't know when breaking into someone's property became okay. Right now, it feels like it's me against the entire world. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Trespassing, destruction of property. Thankfully, no one drowned or was injured. And screw the people for not doing their jobs. You're not in the wrong or a bully for enforcing your property rights. What would have happened if someone was seriously injured in the pool? I bet the parents of these kids would not have hesitated to cause an uproar if something happened to their entitled kids. Why should you just let this slide? This is not okay. OP, that's your property. You're paying for it. Those entitled little brats thought they'd help themselves to it since you weren't around and trashed your property after breaking into your backyard. If any one of these hooligans had been injured or heaven forfend drowned on your property, the parents would have had lawyers lining up at your door. Teens who want to throw a party should find a venue that doesn't involve committing felonies. The fact that they broke your locks shows an entitlement that is stunning. I'm shocked that anyone defends these felonious kids and their designer helicopter parents. Maybe some of the cops are the parents of these kids. Wouldn't be the first police officer or deputy's kids to escape punishment because their parents are in charge. I suspect they know some or all of the kids involved and will likely make your life a nightmare for reporting them. Tell them you won't file charges if the kids pay for the damages and clean up and do some community service. That way, they skip the expense of a trial and have nothing on their record. Dude, not the idiot, but I'd be careful about retaliation. A friend's uncle lives in Alabama, and something similar happened after he forced the cops to do their jobs. He started getting pulled over constantly and had his vehicle searched multiple times. He also started getting citations and fines for dumb crap, like the garbage can being too close to the road or his license plate cover being too big, even though the tags were perfectly readable, or taillights being too dirty. Update. Am I the idiot for bullying the police into pressing charges against a bunch of kids? I'm so glad I posted my situation. Many of you pointed out that the cops might know the kids, so that's why they're dragging the case. I never thought of that because I've only lived here for 2 years. You all opened my eyes. I called my buddy who grew up and still lives here, so I invited him to dinner tonight. I asked him about my situation and showed him my security video. He immediately said about half of the high school senior class was in the video. His kids are in the same high school, and he recognized the daughter and niece of the mayor. He also told me he thinks a couple of the kids belong to the local prominent families, one of which owns one of the local grocery stores. We discussed it, and I decided to take your advice and drop my complaint in exchange for the parents paying the damages. I'll call the cops tomorrow about it. There is a story about someone's uncle who made a complaint and got repeatedly pulled over for phantom violations. That opened my eyes, and I don't want that to happen to me. I do live in a small town, and we only have 3 grocery stores. Dang, I appreciate everyone's opinion, but it made me pause. Me and my wife are well off, and we are very grateful for it. We have 4 children, and this is about our 3rd kid, Bella. We have a rule for college, and it is to get your degree in 4 years. We will pay for it, and if you graduate early, we'll give you extra money for your own use. For example, my oldest daughter graduated in 4 years and has no debt. My second oldest graduated early, took summer classes, and we gave him money that he's using for a down payment on a home. If they're doing a 5-year program, we will pay. But if they leave that program for a normal one, then it goes back to 4. Now, Bella has changed her major twice already, and she's a junior right now. She told us that she's changing her major again. I reminded her that we're only paying for 4 years. This is where we got into an argument. She was upset that we wouldn't pay, even though we had the cash. My argument is we told her before, and we aren't changing how we do it. By the end of it, she called me an unsupportive parent and a jerk for having her go into debt for pursuing her passion. Am I the idiot? She won't talk to me at the moment. Edit. My wife is annoyed with her. She's a B student for the most part. She didn't like what she was doing, so she was changing. She won't have enough credits since she needs to make up the sophomore classes for the new major. She's literature right now, and she's jumping to data collection. Not the idiot. You're providing a great opportunity for your children, but that opportunity shouldn't be confused with limitless choices. She's a junior. She should be surrounded by people having problems making rent, people having to work 2 jobs or juggle children. She should be in the perfect space to be aware of her great luck. Part of your job as a parent is to teach her that pursuing her passion doesn't pay the bills. She knew this when she started changing majors. If she's choosing to be a professional student, you made it clear after 4 years, it's on her dime. I don't blame you, and I paid for all of my own education, not my parents'. I am happy that you're doing well enough to cover the first 4 years for your kids. I'm not saying you have to pay. However, that said, you can't expect her to know what her career will be for the rest of her life at 18 and to pick the according degree. That's a broken part of the university system that we have. If you switch majors, it can take 6 years. Also, if you do engineering internships, which they suggest too these days, that's a minimum of 5 years if you do summer classes. I'm just saying that the 4 years that worked for us in the late 1990s doesn't work the same for the school kids in the early 2020s. Your 4-year expectation and commitment is more reasonable at 5 years these days, but it's your money. Mini update. Thanks for all the advice. I'm sticking with my decision. I'm not willing to do this, especially since breaking the condition for her will hurt my oldest children emotionally. My 35 male family has this tradition of reuniting at my aunt's for a week in July. We're supposed to go next week, but my daughter, nearly adult, is not happy about it. Her boyfriend of 3 years was going on a trip with his family at the same moment and invited her along. His parents are okay with it, but not me. I told my daughter she couldn't because of the family reunion. She tried to argue that it made no difference whether she was going or not, as she's the youngest and always bored. I said it didn't matter, and she either came with us or stayed home. She told me it wasn't fair of me to force her to do something she didn't want to do, and left for her room. We had this conversation 3 days ago, and she hasn't talked to me since. I've tried, but she shuts me down every time. My wife doesn't mind her going with her boyfriend and his family, but I think she's a bit biased because she never liked my family. Am I the idiot for forcing her to go to my family reunion instead of going with her boyfriend on a trip? Yeah, she's nearly an adult. She's almost a legal adult. You are the idiot. All you're doing is increasing the likelihood of a reduced or minimal relationship with her after she becomes a legal adult and can't be controlled by you, especially given that your wife is okay with it. I don't understand why her options were to come with us or stay home. That suggests you don't really care whether she comes to the reunion at all, and you'd rather she stay home alone than go do something she actually wants to do. Honestly, it's fair for you to want her to come, but if I were you, I'd let her go with her boyfriend's family. It will do more for your relationship, but forcing her to accompany you will harm it. The point of that is OP being manipulative and controlling. You don't care whether or not she comes, clearly, since you're willing to allow her to stay home. But God forbid she does something enjoyable for a week in the summer instead of doing what you want her to do. This is a great way to ensure when she turns 18, she doesn't attend any family functions. Good luck with that, OP. You'll need it. 3 years ago, I, female 33, met my partner, Michael, male 42. Michael has a daughter. Emma, now a young teen, lives with him full time. I met Michael about 1 year after his divorce when Emma was a tween. Emma's mother lives with her new husband. Emma visits her mom every other Saturday. Emma hates her stepdad, and her mom is frustrated, and me. She calls me names and insults me when her dad isn't around. When he is, she ignores me as if I don't exist. I've tried spending time with her and doing things to make her feel special, but she laughed and told me to go screw myself. Michael thinks we need to be patient with her since she's a teen and still dealing with her parents' divorce. She became very upset and threw a fit when she found out I was pregnant. Now her resentment has worsened. Michael wants us to get married before the baby comes. He hasn't even proposed. Instead, he suggested going to a courthouse and getting married, considering this is his second marriage and I'm pregnant. He thinks this way: Emma won't be upset since there won't be a wedding or anything. He said, "Can you order rings off Etsy or Amazon and then we just get married?" Am I being selfish if I want to have a small wedding? I've been dreaming of my wedding day since I was a little girl. We both work and having a small wedding is entirely within our budget. Edit. I didn't plan to get pregnant and use it to get married. I'm not in a rush to get married since I want to look good for my big day, not pregnant. It was Michael's suggestion to have a courthouse wedding ASAP. I suggested elopement, but unfortunately, we can't find a sitter for Emma for a week. We can't go on honeymoon either. My parents live in Canada. I moved here for Michael. I can move back to my parents, but then I'll lose my job here. But I might have to do that once the baby's here. Michael is civil with his ex. Emma's mother is very respectful to me. Her husband is a very reserved, quiet man, and he's incredibly respectful. Emma's mom tried therapy many times with her. She refuses. The most she's ever gone is 2 sessions, and now she refuses. Emma's stepdad is done with her. On Saturdays when she goes to her mom's, her stepdad leaves, stays with his mom, because she constantly calls him names and insults him. Michael does so many activities with her, taking her to father-daughter dances. She's great with him, but she can't stand me. She wants nothing to do with me. If Michael even suggests that I be included in anything, she says she doesn't want to do it anymore. Not the idiot. And I don't know how far along you are, but this man does not take you seriously. I understand Emma's going through a lot with her parents' divorce. However, she needs to be taught that she can decide not to have a relationship with you, but to have a fundamental respect for you. Her parents need to step up because allowing her to act like this will only make things worse. If your husband tries to pull the "she'll warm up to the baby," just run, because he will have no intention of trying to change anything, and he's putting your baby at risk. OP doesn't take herself seriously. She lucked into someone who knocked her up despite not parenting his first kid and is rushing her to the altar despite her protest. Why are you marrying this dumpster fire? Her hatred of you is going to get far worse when the baby comes. Far, far worse. Don't marry this man. Wake up. Honey, he expects you to be a doormat. He will expect the same of your baby. How safe do you think that baby will be with her in the house? She wants you gone. Hurting the baby could accomplish that. Don't get married or move in with this man. He needs to get Emma's butt into therapy and deal with her before bringing you and a new baby into the house. That and the fact that he's trying to push you into marriage, like this, is a giant red flag. I would tell him no courthouse wedding for convenience, and no wedding at all. I wouldn't want to raise a baby in a house with a volatile teen like that. I wouldn't want to have his baby at all. I, 25 female, have a daughter who is a young preschooler. I had a small party with some of her daycare friends for her birthday, and I also invited my best friend, 26 female, and her daughter to come. My friend and her daughter showed up about 30 minutes before the party was supposed to start, and she also brought her young toddler daughter, which I was fine with. When they arrived, her older daughter and my daughter went into her room to play. Because they were there early, I wasn't finished making the cupcakes for the party, so I told her she was more than welcome to join me in the kitchen or watch TV in the living room and make herself at home. She chose to stay in the living room and watch TV with her toddler. When I was in the kitchen, I heard a loud bang and immediately ran into the living room. My friend's toddler was standing in front of the TV, holding my friend's umbrella, and the TV was busted. My friend had gone to the bathroom and left her toddler unattended in the living room. I don't have an open floor plan and can't see the living room from the kitchen, so I didn't see anything and had no idea my friend had left her alone. My friend apologized and offered to pay for the TV when it happened. After the party, when I showed her the receipt for the TV and we were discussing it further, she changed her mind because my TV was too expensive for her to replace, and she claimed I was taking that risk by inviting kids into my home. The TV was $1,300, and I just bought it last month. It's been almost a week since the party, and she refuses to reply to my text or phone calls. My fiance's on my side about wanting the money back, but another friend of ours told us that we were being harsh, that we should cut her some slack, and that we should expect things to get broken when we invite kids into the house. She should have been responsible and not left her daughter unattended in my home. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There's a difference between kids being a little destructive and someone leaving their toddler unattended long enough for an umbrella to destroy a TV. Your friend should have called out to you before leaving the toddler alone. And why do other people get involved in these situations? Sheesh, this is down to her. This is the hill you must choose to die on. Legal proceedings are in order. Anytime you invite someone into your home, you're taking a risk that they'll break something. Any responsible adult who breaks an item should immediately offer to replace or pay for the item. Any responsible parent would do the same when their child breaks something. Just because it happens in your home doesn't make the breakage your responsibility. Talk about blaming the victim. By this measure, you'd be responsible if a thief broke in and took your stuff, not the thief. OP, do you have an accidental damage warranty on that TV? It is common courtesy to leave a place the same, if not better, as you found it. She knows this. It's why she initially offered to replace it. However, this is not worthy of small claims court or anything like that. I would just exit the friendship. Update. I'll have to look at our renter's insurance to see if it can cover at least some of the cost of the TV. Thanks for all the suggestions, everyone. I won't be pursuing anything in court or anything like that, but I won't continue with this friendship anymore.